Good morning, y'all. It has been a very busy couple of weeks. Let's talk about what's been going on, but first, let me move something out of the way. We'll talk about what's going on with that later. Let me get out of the way so you guys don't see it in the background. That's the vehicle that the McLaren Artura was traded in on. Anyway, a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks. Y'all know what happened with the Hummer. She just died one day. Not sure what's going on with that. Over the last, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months or so, I really like that Hummer, and I really wanted to get a white one. And finding them around here, you know, it's not the easiest thing. It's not like going out and finding them in a Accord or something like that. They just don't have them on the lot. So I've been following this one that's been inbound to a local GMC dealer, Walzer GMC in Bloomington, to me. And this is white one. It's a 3X. It had the non-transparent roof, which I think I mentioned in my review video. That wasn't really something I was fond of. It's kind of like my C5 over there, where it has the black target top, but it's got a blue tint on it. The Hummer EV was just like that. It's not bad, you know, it's nothing to really complain about, but it's not my choice. I would have had that. So this white one coming in was perfect. It's supposed to be here, I think, end of December, and then early January, then end of January, then middle of February. I checked this morning, and now it's saying middle of March. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I can wait a couple months. I'll just drive the Renegade around for a few months, whatever. So I go to that dealership. I'm like, hey, let's trade this thing in. And like the very next day, that's when that happened. The Hummer just took a crap on me, and I had it towed there because we're going to do the deal anyway. So it's there. They're working on it, whatever. It's a couple days pass, and I go there. I'm like, okay, let's work out a deal to pre-trade for that white one coming in. These guys had really no idea what I was talking about. It's not something that they do. They had no interest in doing it. They've never done it before, and it's like, okay. So that means I can't trade this car in now today for a vehicle that's coming in 2 months, and they just won't let me do it. And I fought them on it, so I said, okay, whatever. I'm not getting the white Hummer then, which is fine. I went over to BMW and I found a iX M60. That's the car that I teased in the previous video that I've had before, that I have another one coming in. Made the deal, got a killer discount on that. It was like $10,500 off, and it was a done deal. Same thing though, they gave me a good buy bid on the Hummer. It was $80,000, but they wouldn't give me that or trade that or give me like credit for that towards the iX until the Hummer was on their lot. And I was at the mercy of Walzer GMC during all this time, just for them to fix it. All I had to do was fix it so I can bring it over there, get the credit, wait for the iX to come in. Another week goes by, and that Hummer is just sitting in that same snowbank that it was when they first got it. They have no idea what's going on. I have a buddy who works there who gave me more information than anyone else there, but he had no idea what was really going on. So we opened up a ticket with GMC. You know, I just wanted to wait for him. Following week, I go back. This is like 2.5 weeks since they've had it. I go back and I meet with one of the technicians that I was messaging, who was anything but useful. He had just no update for me, so he had no idea what was going on. It was all up to the tech, my buddy. He just had no update, so who knows how long this thing was going to be sitting there. So I was frustrated, so I'm about to leave, and I go back in and I'm like, hey, remember that buy bid you guys gave me, the trade value? Would you just cash me out on this thing? And they said, yeah, no problem. So great, I'm just going to sell the vehicle to them as is for $80,000. The bad part though is that I'm not taking that vehicle and trading it on the new white Hummer, but whatever, I'll drive this, or maybe start driving a sports car that has all-season tires on it during this wintertime. Didn't really like that idea, but whatever, I was going to do it. During all this, I ordered this vehicle right here. This is now my new daily driver, and I shouldn't say I ordered it. They reached out to me when this was first announced, and they said, hey, do you want to put your name on the first allocation? How do you want it to build? Or how do you want it built? This really only came one way, so you really only could pick the colors. So I picked this color that you'll see here. I said, yeah, sure, why not? Put my name on it. This is when I just got the Hummer. Had actually a couple months into the Hummer, but I had no interest in selling it. But whatever, they needed someone to put their name on the allocation, and they thought I would be the best choice. So during all this, you know, I bail on the Hummer EV. I make a deal for the BMW iX, but they're not willing to give me anything for it. So I just sell it outright to Walzer. And again, during all this thing comes in, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll swing by, check it out on my way home. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would, honestly. So I'm like, oh shoot, like this ain't good, because I don't want to cash this thing out and have to pay, you know, $6,000 in tax and all that. And so I call up Walzer and I'm like, hey, can we kind of back out on this a little bit and actually use it as a pass-through? Let's have you guys give me the $80K for it, and I'm going to trade it in towards this dealership, but you guys retain the vehicle, of course. And anyway, so I'm still debating if I even want this vehicle, because it is a model year old at this point, and it's the first one out, whatever. So I go to Mercedes and back to BMW, and BMW's willing to do the pre-trade thing, just have a pass-through, just have Walzer buy it out, and I get that iX. Mercedes is doing this, willing to do the same thing. Porsche's willing to do the same thing, but they were just kind of dragging their feet and getting back to me. That was, I never told you, but the car that I ordered that was going to replace the Hummer EV was a Macan EV. I know some of you guys are anti-EV, and I'm not, totally about it myself, but having driven an EV as a daily for almost, well, the Taycan is the first one, almost 4 years now. It's if you guys haven't driven one, every day for a year, it's tough to go back to, something like this, or even like this truck. I mean, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges because I've been driving the Renegade, but it's night and day difference driving an EV versus a just internal combustion car. Just enjoyment, I guess, is, I don't know, gearheads, you're not going to like that very much, but I'm also comparing it to like a daily driven internal combustion, not a exotic sports car like something over there. I'm bouncing around all over the place. I end up bailing on the iX because I didn't want that expensive of a daily driver again. I'd rather put all my money towards like the nice fun cars that I can drive only 5 months out of the year. Makes sense, right? And I ended up buying this thing. They were able to work out the deal with me where Walzer was the pass-through buyer for the Hummer, and I got the $80K trade value towards this, which is less than $80K, but at least I didn't pay any taxes. So that was like again, about a $5,000 or $6,000 savings. I got them to discount this vehicle because even though this just came out, I'm seeing some dealerships like around, there's one in Ohio was discounting them like $7,000. I think I found some that for like even like $12,000, but that was a lease option. There's an incentive or a rebate that I think gave $7,500 off if you leased it. I don't lease my cars, I finance them or cash them out. So that was my only option. So I got them to discount this $4,000, traded the Hummer. I really like it. It's not as flashy or in your face as the Hummer, but it's a really nice vehicle. It's super quiet to drive. The craftsmanship compared to the Hummer is, even though this is $35,000 cheaper, yeah, it's much nicer. The audio system on the Hummer was not good. Now that speaker, you guys maybe or may not have seen that video. Center channel speaker went out right away on the Hummer. It was a big Tonka truck, so it rattled. It was, you slam the door, the whole thing can go boom, shimmies. I mean, it was built well, but for $10,000, I think was not built as well as it should have been, especially compared to something like this. Apples to oranges. This isn't a crazy off-road vehicle. It's half the size almost, but let me just stop rambling. I'm gonna show you what we got. Okay, it looks like a dad vehicle, doesn't it? I mean, kind of. This is a 2024 Jeep Wagoneer S in the silver black two-tone look. I already had it tinted, that's why the windows are dark as hell. But what do you guys think of this? Again, not as exciting looking, but this thing is a very fun, enjoyable car, and it's really well built. Show you on the inside here. Everything is super clean. It's got way more screens than it needs to. I've never been a fan of this passenger side, like Ferrari, for example. You can get a Ferrari and have this passenger side screen. Like, what do they need to look at the RPMs for? I mean, I get it, but they charge you for it. And Ferrari is like crazy expensive. This happened to come with it. These are the first or launch editions. They come only one way, fully loaded, including this screen. This isn't real leather, even though it looks like it and feels like it. It's not real suede or Alcantara, even though it looks like it and feels like it. But I mean, this thing is really surprisingly well built. We'll get more into this, but I'll show you guys after I wash it up. But I love the center console area. There's no polished black for like fingerprints or scratches. There's a screen that can go up and down and lock into place if you want it to. We'll get more on that later. Door panels look nice and clean. This door shuts really nice. This will be the daily driver for the next at least year, if not more. There is going to be cheaper versions of this coming out. People are saying this is not going to be a high volume seller for them. I don't know. I mean, the cheaper version, if you imagine it, comparing it to like the Model Y or something like that, it should be in maybe that 50 range. This at 72, I think, is still even a bargain. Again, that sticker, I got a discount plus savings on taxes and whatever. I don't know. I think it's a cool car. I'm not trying to justify the purchase. I'm just trying to let you know that it is a totally different vehicle, and I really enjoy it. I think I got only about 100 miles on it so far, but I like it a lot more than I thought I would. All right, I'll stop wasting time. Let's get this guy cleaned up. Yeah, let that do its thing for a couple minutes. The reason why I did that is because this was sitting in a train yard for about a month, and there's tons of hard water spots all over the thing. That's one thing I want to do today, is polish this out to make sure it's prepped and perfect as it could be for a clear wrap, which is scheduled for this week. And speaking of that, while this does its thing, let me talk to you about the importance of that. If you guys want to keep your investment, you know, you consider a car an investment, at least maybe not something like this, but all these things back here is perfect for as long as you can. I'm going to put that PPF film on there. You guys all know what that does. It protects it from any sand or debris or flaws, bird droppings that could potentially etch or damage or ruin the most outside surface on your car, the clear coat, or even worse, go through the clear coat into the paint. I PPF all my cars, even this little puddle jumper right here, where the PPF is worth probably about a third of the vehicle, but it's just peace of mind. Make sure it's nice and stays nice for as long as you can. I go with a group more often than not it's a place called Solar Shield. They're in Savage, Minnesota. Great family-owned business. Been going to them for over 25 years, something like that, long time. Actually just tinted it, and they're scheduled to PPF next week. But they're not in the business to perfect paint. And I knew that, but I kind of forgot about that until last week when they were here doing my C5 back here and Pa's 95 Corvette, which you guys haven't really seen. And we came to visit here one day like 2 weeks ago when they were doing it, and they were washing the 95. Now, I never told them to not touch it, but I never told them that it's ready, and they should have seen that by how dirty and how imperfect it was, that it wasn't ready. But whatever, to each their own. We come here and they're actually washing it and prepping it, and I'm looking at the paint and the way that they're washing it. I'm just getting, like, you know, that icky feeling, because I'm a perfectionist, OCD driven type detailer, where any imperfection or any type of technique that's not proper to me, just like let me do it, stop it, you know, type of thing. So after seeing that, I came here the next day. I'll show some video here, but there's a crazy before and after on this paint. And what I'm getting at, you know, I'll insert those here. Horizontal surfaces are usually the worst. This is all done. I'll be able to tell compared to like that. See all those marks right there? Haven't done this yet. What the paint was like compared to now. I did this side already. Some light in there. Looks good. Here's that same panel now I just showed you. It looks good. Better. Oh my God. Look at that. Compared to this. So what I'm getting at is that you want to make sure that that PPF film you put to preserve or protect your car is also being laid on something that is as perfect as it can be. They were ready to lay that film over what they felt was acceptable. They did the compound to kind of more prep the surface than correct it. Again, they're not in the business to perfect paint, but more so preserve it. I want to preserve it, or I want to perfect it before it's preserved. So those videos you saw, other before and after, you want to make sure if you have a PPF group that is working for you, you want to ask them if they do any paint correction. Because if not, you want to do what I'm doing here, and you want to get the paint as perfect as you can get it. This is, I've said it like 3 times now, this says to be done tomorrow, Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday. So I want to make sure this. When I took delivery of it, I found a few flaws, a couple scratches in the bottom black plastic, the high gloss, hard water spots. You can see here, someone even used the wipers at one point. See that line coming up through here? Things like that. Also on the paint, you want to get that as perfect and smooth as you can. So that's the reason why we're doing this, and this sat for so long that it just got hard water spots and scratches and who knows what else. Anyway, that's my rant. You want to make sure your car is perfect if you plan on PPFing it. So let's rinse this off and then get to washing it. I'm gonna do this off camera because this car is not coated, so the air blower blasting out all the water from the crevices is not gonna be as satisfying because it's just sheeting right off because there's no protection. So we'll do it this way. There we go. I think I might have moved the camera a little bit, but that's all right. Got her cleaned, dried, and I guess semi-coated with graphene CS3. Now when I get to this step, this is when I really look for imperfections or things that I could potentially need more attention. And let's see, we got a little dingle right there. Don't gotta do much about that. Saw one back here. One good thing about silver cars or silver paint is that it's pretty tough to see imperfections, but not impossible. See that one right there? And this had to have happened when the guys tinting that were doing these back windows, which you can't even really see, but there's a little window right here. I'm going around it right now with my finger. Useless window. You can also see how much acid rain. You can't really tell by looking at it like this. Well, I guess you can, but you can really tell once you get a little wet. See how that looks great from here, right? As soon as you get some water on there, you can really tell about the acid rain. But this must have happened when they were doing those little windows, because I looked over this thing really well, and this was not here before. I'm gonna try to polish that out. It doesn't really feel deep. I'll try to get that out. I think I'll do this off camera too, because I'm going to end up polishing this whole thing. Look at that back window. Isn't that terrible? This is after cleaning it and doing the iron out, doing this coating on there. Sometimes you have to just polish out or kind of shave down those etched in marks. So I'm going to do that right now using the DeWalt Orbital with Ammo's exfoliate. This stuff is really good. This is what I used on that Corvette in the videos earlier. Before I go much further, I did the hood, the front end, and I'm just working on this fender. You can see some of the polish there, and I did half the windshield just to test it out, to see how this stuff does, and removing some of that acid rain that's etched itself into the glass and the clear coat. I did some wet sanding too. I couldn't quite get these two little marks out, but they do look a little bit better. And I was able to get that one on the back. I don't know if I showed that. I think I did. Oh, and that looks perfect now. So I got a kind of a damp micro right here. Got some graphene CS3 that just picks up a majority of the polish. I'm gonna go through with the dry one and buff it off. Sure looks good. Let's check out how this half of the windshield turned out. Oh, it's nice having a car that I don't need to step on the tires to get to the windshield. I'd say that did the job. Yep. That's on the inside. Yeah, that did it. Took off all that hard water spots. Let's see if I can get this on reflection. So the glass looks pretty good. This little haze is on the inside, I believe. Yep. So no real watermarks anymore. Ignore the haze compared to this side. Let's see if you can see it. You can see like right here. So we get the focus. There, see that watermark right here on the pinky? It's not terrible on the windshield compared to these side windows, but it's there. Definitely see it down here. Here we go. See that in the light? Compared to this over there. That's what I'm getting off right now. So I'll keep doing this off camera. This will take me a few hours. I'm about halfway through. And in the back over here, just want to show this is how dirty this pad is. This was white like this when I started. Nasty. I'm gonna grab a new pad. Got that one all cleaned up. Here's a new one. I keep on going. Not bad. Only took about 3 hours to polish it out. I'm gonna suds it up, let it sit for a little bit, then dry it one more time, and then she should be good to go. There's a few areas that I could not get right, I guess. The back area, I was able to make that pretty decent. A couple chips over here I tried sanding and couldn't do anything about, but there's a ding on the driver's side door on the inner lip. I'm gonna try to put some clear coat on that and hopefully that helps. But for now, let's suds it up. Off camera one more time, and then I'll finally show you guys a little bit about it. Alright, I've had enough detailing for the day. I really wanted to do Pa's new car, which is on the other side of this wall, but we're gonna have to save that for another day. Let me give you some first impressions real quick on this 2024 Jeep Wagoneer S. Having not put hands on it, it's nice to say, or I can confidently say, it is very easy to wash. It's one thing that I kind of grade vehicles based on how simple or how easy it is to wash. The Hummer was not easy. The wife's Wagoneer, not easy. This thing, very easy. So what we're looking at here is a 2024 Wagoneer S in Zenith Silver. That's really the only option you can select on these launch edition Wagoneer S's because they come pretty fully loaded. It's either a white, a gray, a black, a silver. I think there's a red option you could have chosen, but of course I went with silver because, as you guys know, most of the cars that I like are silver. This is very similar actually to the Challenger's triple nickel. Actually, it's a really light silver, but it's called Zenith with the black wheels. I did think about removing these. These are just little matte black covers. There's a little pin back here. You can pop these off like that, but there's also a little screw that I found holding them in, so I'm not going to do that because I think to get them off correctly you're going to have to pop this wheel off, but I don't really even dislike the way they look. Gloss black with matte black gives it kind of a nice sporty look, complemented by the black wheel arches. Look how that turned out. I got a majority of those hard spots taken off. The only ones I didn't would be like in the very edge. See if the light can catch it. See that? The very edge of the window I couldn't quite get, but the middle, the roof, everything looks much better than it was. Again, this thing sat in the rail yard for a month for who knows what reason. I was told that there was a issue with them, but whatever. Got her all cleaned up and polished and ready for PPF. Found a few imperfections that I can't really do much about them. There's some little rock chips. This thing did have like 58 miles on it when I got it, so someone either test drove it or drove it around or something. I guarantee those happened during that time, and that's why I don't like people test driving cars that I'm buying. That's why I don't like buying cars that are test driven. The Hummer was the same way. There's a little paint flaw in that. It had to have come from someone test driving it. But whatever, live with it. It's not that big of a deal. I was able to get some of the stuff out. I found one right here that I'm gonna throw some clear coat on. Maybe that'll help disguise it. Where is it? There it is. Very tough to see. Besides the silver on black two-tone, that's really all you see on the outside. Here's where you charge it. I love when they put the charger on the driver's side versus the passenger. Just makes things a little bit easier for backing in and not having a long enough cord. There's these little pads here that you press to get in the vehicle, just like that, and it pops open with an electronic assist. And here's the inside. Nice options on the inside that I could have selected were either black or red leather, or not leather, it's like a fake leather. That's one thing they're pushing, is that this is a vegan interior. You know, with the whole EV, it's supposed to be kind of a green or pro-environment vehicle, so they bring that to the inside as well by using materials that are not animal based. I mean, it could have fooled me. It looks and feels like leather, but it's not. But look at this. This is nice. I guess this is recycled material too, but it's just really nice quality components or quality parts that they used on the inside. Even these buttons feel really nice. It's got the Macintosh 19 speaker audio. That was one thing that sold me on this, is I sat in the white one that I test drove and just listened to the audio, and it was pretty impressive. It doesn't beat that iX, But it was really nice. There's a little manual release in case the battery dies. You have a Hummer incident and you can't get out of the car. So you can open up the door. Lots of different ways to adjust the seat. It's got massaging seats, cooled seats. I think it even has cooled seats in the back. Yeah, look at that. Heated and cooled seats in the back. For 72 grand, that's pretty good. I know some more expensive cars, like the Hummer, that I think had heated seats, but not cool. I do like that the door comes all the way down, covers up this crap, so you're not going to be getting this too dirty while you drive. The welcome lighting on this car is really sweet. Let's see if it'll turn on for me. Probably have to turn it on the inside. There's this light bar that goes all the way across and even lights underneath here. I'll show you guys that real quick. Nice light bar all the way in the back. I think the brake light, I actually don't know. It's probably up here if I had to guess. It's just the daytime running lights. Pretty cool, huh? As you get down, you can see the lights underneath there. That's what it looks like during the day. There's actually a ton of room in the back. I carry my dogs in here. There is plenty of room in this. This is a very small car. I mean, my eye level is like right about here. You know, I'm just under 6 foot, I'm like 5'11", and you can see this thing is quite a bit shorter than, I mean, here. Let's give you an idea. I mean, I stand over this thing quite a bit, so it's maybe like 5'6" tall, something like that. Makes a very, I guess, narrow height for the cargo capacity, but it is really deep. And it starts to taper off. Looks like after maybe a foot or so. By the time you get 3 feet down, I don't know. It's a good amount of space, but it does limit you on height. It's got a backup camera on the back here, as well as one up here for the rear view mirror. Let's hop on in here real quick. Listen to this door shut. See, it's just solid. The range isn't as good as the Hummer. Look at that, 76%, 183 miles. I don't think it's as good as they claim online either. But I'm guessing when they did that, you know, EPA, they say it's got like 300 miles of range. They probably did it in eco mode. Let me turn the brightness. I always drive this thing dark. There you go. This is really nice to have. Instead of polished black everywhere, this is a like a plastic, but it's got a really cool texture to it. Like in between these little X's, it's a different material, which is nice. Here's all those screens I was telling you about. Let me get this one on. So there's a button right here to turn on the side passenger screen, which again, I don't really see a reason for. It's just gonna drain battery. Only the passenger can see it. You see if I come over towards my vision, can't see it at all. Obviously I'll just have that off at all times. This is much more responsive than my wife's Wagoneer. You see how much faster that goes now once you go through it once or twice. Yeah, it's much more responsive. Even this down here, this little screen. You have a couple ways to change the temperature, which I thought was odd. You can do it right here. You can do it right here. See how that's changing it? You can push this up and you still have access to it right there. You can come over here in the climate control area. You can do it from here. It's a lot of options to control your climate, but whatever. To each their own. I wish this was the factory thing where it goes from, where it stays at whatever your last save setting was, or whatever, you know, you save it to your seating position. This is max regen. It's basically one pedal driving. The Macan, one thing that I wasn't looking forward to that is that does not have one pedal driving like the Hummer. And you just, I mean, once you have it, you kind of get used to it. Those with Teslas probably understand what I'm talking about. One pedal driving, just, it's a game changer. This is nice to have. Most EVs, this is fixed open. I'm not a big panoramic or even sunroof fan. I think that they, especially in a Jeep, if y'all have been watching my channel for a while, I had a Trackhawk. This thing was my nemesis because this panoramic window creaked on that vehicle. Really pissed me off. But you know, it's just something that can leak or fail. I'd rather just be a fixed roof. But I do like that I can close it. Unlike the Hummer, that was on a sunny day, it was blinding every single time. That's kind of exaggerating. It wasn't terrible. But you know, I'd rather have a nice dark cabin than something like that. I do really like this 2-spoke steering wheel because I drive a lot of times like this. You know, I'll just be driving and just hold it right at that 6 o'clock position or the 12 o'clock position. I don't like it when there's something right at this spot because I don't want to hold on either side over here. This is kind of a weird thing. I saw it's all scratched up. See the fingerprints and stuff. I don't know what else they could have done over here. I think they were trying to carry the look from this screen all the way across, which makes sense, but maybe this would have been better with this type of material. I don't know, I gotta polish that out, or see if I can at least. Pretty nasty. It does have a heads-up display. I don't have that on because it's just a distraction. As I said before, it does have a rear view camera in the mirror. And the camera system actually is pretty nice on here. Of course, change different angles if you want. I mean, that's pretty high quality picture if you ask me. I like it. Different modes down below. Again, they probably did the estimated mileage in eco. Because what did that go to? 191. Go down to auto. Nice little animation that comes up. Goes to 182. Have fog lights on? Yeah, turn those off. What does it do when I go to sport mode? Oh. 164. Yeah, so they definitely did that estimated mileage in eco mode, which is fine. I mean, I only drive, not a whole lot, just to work and back. And with the Hummer, I was able to get away with just charging that thing maybe once a week at the very most. In the wintertime, actually, one thing I'll say about the Hummer, out of all the EVs I've had, the iX, i4, Taycan Turbo S, Taycan Cross Turismo, and now this. One more. My parents had an EQS. The Hummer, out of all of those, had the least amount of, what do they call it? There's a term, but when it gets cold, when it's wintertime, your battery level on most EVs drops by like 40%. The Hummer only dropped like maybe 15%, 10 probably at the most. I would get 200 and at 80%, I was getting like 256, 260, somewhere around there miles, and that was true miles in the summertime. In the wintertime, it was maybe 246. It wasn't a big drop at all. In fact, maybe even more than that. And the Hummer was the only vehicle of all of them too that would be true mileage. The Taycan, it would react, and the BMW, so it would react how you're driving, of course, kind of like a normal internal combustion car. If you reset it, you're gonna have 99 miles per gallon going downhill. The Taycan, it was similar to that. As soon as you step on the gas, it would just drop. Versus the Hummer, it would it would average out. But there were times it would say, like, I go to work, it's like 5 miles from my house, and I have, let's say, 200 miles of range. By the time I get there, it'd be like 198 miles of range. It was really on the cautious side of things compared to this and I guess the BMW and Porsches. But so far, this has been pretty good. I just drive it, pretty conservatively because it's brand new. And yeah, it's working out pretty good for me on range. First impressions, it's a really great vehicle, bang for your buck. At just about 70 grand, fully loaded. This is a much more enjoyable, it's faster than the Hummer. I'm comparing it to something that really isn't comparable for it, but just coming from that to this, is the Hummer worth 30 grand more than this? I don't think. Almost 40 grand actually more than this? I don't think so. Even the BMW iX. Jeep is not known to be, the high-end or luxury brand, but I mean, you guys see the inside. This thing is pretty high-end, and I'd rather get this over an iX just because it's 30 grand less. And it's just as fast and has really great audio, and the build quality seems to be up to par. A little odd that they did call it the Wagoneer, but it makes sense. I think kind of like Genesis to Hyundai. Genesis was the luxury brand of that. I think Wagoneer is going to eventually be the luxury brand of Jeep. The Wagoneer S for like slim or small or sport. And the Wagoneer L is like the giant top or a Suburban compared to the Wagoneer, which is like the Tahoe. A little bit bigger, L for large, S for sport. I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't heard anything or heard any justification as to why they went the Wagoneer name versus like a Grand Cherokee electric. Speaking of that, I'm not exactly sure why they have the 4xe badge on here. That's more something you see on their hybrid or plug-in hybrid vehicles. I mean, I guess it is a four-wheel drive and it's electric, but I don't know. I might be overthinking that, but that's typically something you find on the plug-in hybrids from Jeep. That was kind of odd that it would be on the fully electric version. All right, let me know what y'all think of this. It's 3:15. I don't have any energy to do Pa's new car, so I have to save that for another video. I'll do that next weekend probably. Super Bowl is next weekend, so maybe not. I'll get it done anyway. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think it's a great pickup. It's not very flashy, not terribly expensive. It's a good buy. I think these will sell pretty well for Jeep, especially considering some of the competitors out there that are in a much higher price bracket. All right, y'all. As always, I do appreciate watching. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.